Hey, we'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Isotope, makers of software and plugins for audio repair, mixing, and mastering. We use Isotope products here at the High Gain. It's an important part of how we've been able to bottle pure podcast gold week after week. And guess what? Isotope offers 1 free month of Music Production Suite Pro, which has all the tools you need to mix, master, and repair audio. Also, you can get 10% off all other software using the promo code FRET10. That's FRET10. All of this is at isotope.com, IZOTOPE.com.
Hey, this is Ed Peterson.
And this is John Kiltica, Ed.
And this is the High Gain Podcast, John.
It most certainly is, Ed.
I think today we should talk about guitars, exclusively guitars, John. What do you think?
Yeah, it seems to have been working pretty well that way lately. Sure, let's do that.
Yeah. Perfect. Where are you recording from, John?
I am recording from an undisclosed location in my basement.
Okay. I am in beautiful West Seattle. It's raining.
Yes.
We had a little sun yesterday, and I had to go out in the backyard and replace some steps that had gotten all wobbly from too much rain on the wood. That's kind of a deal here with the rain.
Yeah.
It
rains here.
Yeah. So I'm ready to go to like Palm Springs, Joshua Tree, Yucca Valley, something like that,
Well, as the song says, it never rains in Southern California.
Yes.
But we can find out whether or not that's true because you know what, Ed?
What?
We have a guest.
Oh, yeah?
From Southern California.
Southeastern, I guess?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I think we should say hello to Mr. TK Smith of TK Smith Guitars. What's up, TK?
How you guys doing? It was actually raining here last night.
Wait, in Southern California?
Impossible.
A little bit of snow, too.
Yucca Valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How far is that from Palm Springs?
We're 20 minutes from downtown Palm Springs, but we're at 4,500 feet, so you got to go up into the hills.
Yeah, it's crazy. We did that big tram that goes up to the top of the mountain, and it was like a 40-degree temperature change.
We did it one time. It was about 100, at the bottom, and then when you get up towards Idlewild, it's maybe 70 or 60.
Yeah, pretty great.
So it remains temperate even when the temperatures are crazy down in Palm Springs?
Yeah, we're always about 15 degrees cooler up here. So if you see Palm Springs is, 120, we're, at 100.
A nice balmy 105.
Palm Springs will stay that temp all night, and we drop down.
Yeah.
I really prefer the summers up here than the winters. It's really colder than I thought it would be.
I love it down there. But we've done the weird thing where I've only stayed in Palm Springs for extended periods in the summer when it's literally 115, 120.
I kind of don't mind it. I don't know if I'm crazy, but
115, great.
As long as you're not outside mowing the lawn or whatever.
Exactly. And you've got your shop right there.
Yeah, my shop is less than a mile from my house. I have a really pretty sweet setup.
John and I were kind of sharing links yesterday, and there's that video of you time-lapsing that mid-century wall.
Oh, yeah.
Outside and like welding it up, and then the sun sets and you're still welding and stuff.
Right.
That's so awesome.
My house was built in 1961, and that's what I kind of do on my spare time. And during COVID, I've actually worked on it quite a bit. At the beginning, I took about a month off, and we did my roof and a few other things.
I'm ready to be neighbors.
I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light.
Beverages.
Yes.
That's my kind of music.
I feel like this episode, John is ready to step it up, bringing in standards and stuff. Come on.
Yeah, I wish you lived closer. There's not a lot of people to jam with out here.
Duke Ellington?
Yeah.
That was I'm Beginning to See the Light. And TK, do you have a beverage handy?
I do.
Oh, what are you drinking up there in Yucca Valley?
I have a black coffee right now.
Oh, fantastic.
So perfect. That's kind of like the official beverage of this podcast.
Yeah.
What do you guys have?
I've got a black coffee as well.
Okay.
And I've also got, Ed, check this out.
Yeah.
A Topo Chico.
Sparkling water.
Yeah, this one is a twist of lime, and it's made in Monterrey, Mexico. This was actually given to me by one of our listeners.
No one brings me beverages. No one.
Yeah, well.
Exactly.
What about you, Ed?
I've got a Crater Lake root beer made in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Crater Lake Soda Company out of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's very old school. I stepped it up. I felt like this would be a TK approved, cool old logo and stuff. Yeah.
Are you guys from up that way, or you've always lived there?
Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, and I make it to Seattle by way of Colorado.
Okay. I like it up there.
I was a military brat, so I was kind of all over. Name a state, and if I didn't live in that state, I lived adjacent to it, more than likely. We lived on Whidbey Island in the Puget Sound, and I always just really liked Washington, Seattle. It always just felt like home. So when I actually graduated, I came out here. It's beautiful.
What about you, TK?
Well, I grew up in the LA area pretty much my whole life. And then we moved out here. It's going on 20 years now, which seems crazy because it feels like maybe 10 years, but it's been a while now.
Would you ever go back?
To LA?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
My different jobs there were always at least an hour commute.
Ooh.
I don't even have to think about traffic anymore.
Perfect.
You did fabrication at Disney?
I did. Right before I moved out here, I worked about 5 years at Walt Disney Imagination.
Were you an Imagineer?
Yes. The first, I think, 3.5 years I was a temp because it was pretty hard to get on there full time. And,
yeah,
I was working like 50 hours a week. Trying to play music and do that was a pain.
Right. Yeah.
The last 1.5 years, I was an Imagineer.
Was that working on stuff in the park?
There's a big industrial complex that they own. And I was there with the plastic shop and the painters, and they do all that stuff. And while I was there, they were building Tokyo Disney. So a lot of stuff I worked on was prototypes for the ride vehicles.
Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was really fun. It was just so much overtime.
Yeah.
We worked 12 hours Monday through Thursday, and then 8 on Friday and 8 on Saturday.
Wow.
Kind of too much.
Were you building guitars?
So I started playing music pretty early, but I got interested in just like guitar mods and stuff like that during the 80s. But I'd never actually built a whole guitar until I came out here 20 years ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Once I left Disney, I came out here and I got a job at a cabinet shop just to, have some work. And then once I started doing that, I rented a space and was doing cabinets on my own. At that time, I kind of collected all the tools and everything I needed. I started doing pickups and necks, and then I finally switched to doing whole guitars.
Wow. What made you switch over to guitars? Was that an idea that you'd been thinking about anyway?
I always wanted to do that. And then I finally got to the point where I had all the tools, and there was just no reason for me not to. And right from the start, I got some pretty good press. So I got busy pretty quick.
We see in the videos that we've watched that the majority, if not all, I think, of the tools in your shop are vintage.
Yeah. The post-World War II stuff, I've always really been interested in that. My shop's pretty simple. I mean, I have a bandsaw, I have a planer, I have buffers and scroll saws and all that stuff, but it's all old stuff.
We've got an old pink mid-century modern color can opener.
Oh, yeah.
From like late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
I have replaced virtually everything I own, and this can opener is just bulletproof. It's never going to die.
That's kind of before they figured out they need to make stuff have a lifespan so they can sell more of them,
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
I do a lot of cast aluminum parts and I do all the polishing, so my buffer, when I'm busy, it's running 8 hours a day, but it's from 1922.
Man.
It's probably already went through a couple guys' lifetimes and it'll outlast me by far. It doesn't even get warm. It just runs.
Back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
All your guitars, everything jumps out. But that J.D. McPherson one?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
That guitar must have a name, right?
The Bo Diddley Jupiter Thunderbird is the body shape.
Yeah.
JD's the guy that came up with that. He just asked me if I would do a special, but with a Jupiter Thunderbird body. And I never really thought to do that, but I'm happy with the way it came out.
Oh, it's killer.
It's beautiful.
I mean, all my stuff's based on Paul Bigsby, who I'm a huge fan of.
Right.
Get into this guitar a little bit, John.
Okay. So, TK, I am holding here one of your special guitars. That's the model name.
Yep.
We got this from our man, Cousin Will, down at Thunder Road Guitars in Portland. He was kind enough to let it come to Seattle for a visit. For the viewers, we're looking at 2 pickups, a selector switch that goes between those 2 pickups, tone volume, a tremolo, and that's the functionality of it. But it's much more than that. Tell us a little about this thing, TK.
It's based on Paul Bigsby's early guitars. It's a neck through. The neck runs all the way through the body, and it has wings. The treble and bass side are cut from solid maple, and then it has a top and back glued on.
It's not very heavy, so those wings are chambered?
Yeah, so the wings are approximately a half-inch thick. They just follow the perimeter of the guitar.
It's got a pickguard on the top and the bottom, and the pickguard feels pretty thick. I understand you make these yourself?
Yes, yeah, they're just Garolite.
It's like Bakelite, right?
Yeah, you buy it in sheets, and they start out about an 1/8 inch thick, and I foil them kind of, like you would a surfboard fin or like the early Rickenbacker steels.
Yeah.
To foil it, you have to sand it off.
And you've probably got some Thomas Edison era sander you use for that, right?
I wish I did.
You do all the metal work on the trem, right?
Yeah. But they're all cast aluminum. I made the patterns, but I have them cast in a foundry. The rough castings I clean up and machine in the shop.
They're kind of Bigsby-ish designs as well?
Yeah. It's basically Bigsby's vibrato with a different shape.
I was just kind of digging into Bigsby a little bit more and ended up going down the rabbit hole reading about Crocker motorcycles.
Yeah.
I did not know that Paul Bigsby designed or engineered a lot of the main components on Crocker motorcycles.
Yeah. If you look at the running boards where you put your feet on those and the Bigsby volume pedal, it's the same part. The volume pedal with the tone control.
Wow. Guess he was fond of saying, I can build anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And so jumping from motorcycles over to guitar parts was not an issue for him.
Yeah.
Going from like motorcycle to guitar, like TK went from Disney rides to guitar.
He was a machinist and a pattern maker, so we kind of had similar backgrounds.
I noticed on your website, one of your pickup types is a CAR, which is a cast aluminum.
Yep.
But these covers on this one are diamond shaped. Is there something different about the pickup itself, or is it just a different cover?
So the covers on those early Bigsby pickups are really thick. And same with mine. They're about 40 thousandths thick. I just found by cutting the top open, it just lets a little more of the highs through, which just makes it a little more useful for modern music.
And I see that the pole pieces that are coming through that open hole, they're bigger than normal. These are like 1/4 inches, right?
Yeah, like the early Rickenbacker pickups had 1/4 inch magnets also. I don't know if you are familiar with Stratosphere guitars.
Yes. Iowa, was it?
Springfield, Missouri.
Missouri, right.
So those pickups in that guitar are based on Stratosphere pickups, but I just put them in that Bigsby housing.
Do you have set models that you go with, or have you built other wacky one-off stuff?
I try and do the two. I have a one called Roadmaster, which is a bolt-on neck, and then the Special. Those are really the only two that I do. And I also do re-necks, but I've been trying to just do the full builds lately.
Yeah.
There's a ton of variants, though. All the pictures I could find of, say, the Special, top woods, pickup types, pickguard shapes. Looks like you're willing to do quite a bit of design stuff, even though the shape of the guitar remains the same.
I build them all kind of like a prototype. That's one of the reasons that are, a little bit pricey. All those early Bigsbys, he only really made 22 known guitars and mandolins.
Right.
But every one of them is a little bit different.
You've got some interesting inlays on this one. The top cutaway has an inlay that says custom.
Oh, yeah.
That looks really cool. And then on the back, you've got playing card suits.
The guy that got that originally, he ordered that stuff.
On the frets, it's almost like a bow tie shape with an arrow going through the middle of it.
Are you familiar with the guitar that he built for Jimmy Bryant?
Don't know if I am.
It looks pretty similar to my Special. I based the guitar on that. It's a double cutaway with the 2 pickguards. And it has a similar inlay, but without the little diamond. It's kind of a cross between an early 40s Epiphone inlay and Bigsby.
I didn't realize there were only like 20-some originals, because I've seen a bunch of them. Have you actually played Bigsby's?
Yeah, I'm good friends with Deke Dickerson. So I've seen a few of his and done some work on them. Bigsby built 2 5-string mandolins, one for Tiny Moore, and the second one I had in my shop for about a month and a half. I took that and I x-rayed it, so I learned a lot, what the inside looked like, and that's kind of what I based my guitars on.
So what was your biggest takeaway?
Originally, I was gluing up a big slab and chambering it, and from the x-ray of the mandolin, I could see that he was cutting the sides out of a solid piece and he's gluing them on after the fact and then putting a top and back on.
How does that work? Do you go to a medical place and say, "Hey, can you x-ray this for me?" What, like?
It's a funny story. I'm about 2 hours from LA from my house. And so I set up an appointment with, I forget where it was somewhere online. I found somebody that would x-ray it. And then I took my dog to the vet, which is just about a block from my shop. And I was telling them, and she said, "Oh yeah, bring it in here." So I just took it in there and they x-rayed it for me right there.
That's so crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, it was like a block from my shop.
I'm super interested in the guitar stories, but then it's just like, wait, what? Like,
and she didn't even charge me either. The other guy was going to charge me like $100.
Crazy.
Hey, Ed, you want to hear something?
I think so, yeah.
If you switch down to that bridge pickup, not only do you get a different kind of quack to it, but if you put on some overdrive, that thing really wakes up, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. You got any, just a little reverb over there?
Some slappy something?
Delay's good too.
That's pretty cool, huh? Or is that too much?
No, that is not too much. TK?
No, it sounds good here.
Yep. Do you have a back order? They seem super labor intensive.
I do maybe 6 a year if I'm lucky, because I also sell the parts, depending on how many pickups I'm selling.
Right.
The case is numbered. Is that the number of this style or the number of total guitars across all the models?
That's the number of that style. What number is that one? I can't remember.
6.
6, okay. That guitar was actually built for a guy named Michael Lockwood, who was married to Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh.
The pickguard is in the case, Michael Lockwood.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like the letters on the pickguard go all the way through to the back.
Yeah, so they're cut pretty much how Bigsby was doing them, because he made a lot of pickguards for, like Lefty Frizzell and guys like that. It's an 1/8-inch piece of Bakelite, and you draw out the lettering and cut it out with a scroll saw and then glue the other piece in.
Man.
Like that, just the amount of time it must take to do that.
Yeah.
The way you describe it, it's just like, oh yeah, you just like cut it out and like...
I have a guy that helps me sometimes. It's a really good artist, and he actually drew that font. So that lettering's really good. You can tell the ones that I drew because my lettering's a little cruder.
And then when you put it back in, what are you coating the top of the pickguard with?
I use shellac for a sealer and then nitrocellulose, like the early Fender blackguards.
Right.
How many are you up to? You said 6 to 12 a year is kind of your number?
Yeah.
Has that been pretty consistent for 10 years or something? Or
I kind of lost track, but I'm probably getting close to 40 or 50.
Wow.
I recently did Swamp Ash Roadmaster. It's not finished yet, but I'm kind of hoping on that one. Maybe I have a CNC guy cut some bodies out for me and maybe even have somebody else paint them so I can just make a little bit of money.
Right.
Because even at the price on the specials, they're around $10K, but I make about $5 an hour on them.
Exactly.
How do the strap hooks work? I'm not sure I understand that.
Yeah, so there's something called an upholstery snap hook. It kind of clips on to the loops. That's a Bigsby thing too. And supposedly the reason they did that is a lot of the guys that were playing those had cowboy hats on so they could just unsnap it and take it around rather than take their hat off.
That's pretty great. Hey, John, lay a little of that trem on me.
Yeah, right. Okay. First thing I can tell the viewers about the trem is that it's perfectly positioned by my hand. It's not too tight and not too loose, so I don't have to go hunting for it as I play. It's just right where I want it to be. And also, it's really smooth and subtle.
That one has the adjustable arm, right?
It does, yes.
The reason I did that is by loosening the set screws and twisting the piece. If you want to hold it while you're picking, you can get it in a pretty good spot.
That's nice. So we played the bridge. It crunches up real nice. And this is just, again, an overdrive pedal. And then I go to the neck.
Is that tone up?
Tone is up. If I put the tone like, in the middle. Man. For kicks, put a little fuzz on there. Since we got this guitar from Thunder Road Guitars in Portland, I am going through a Sputnik 3 fuzz pedal made by Spaceman in Portland, Oregon.
I saw an interview with you at like the 2017 NAMM, I think. Have you been going to the LA NAMM up until this year, or?
I've never done the LA one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got lost in the drum section there one time, and I told myself I'm never coming back. 50 drummers playing a different song.
How many do you have in progress right now?
Right now, I'm working on 2 specials. I try and focus on one at a time, but I have a bunch going right now.
The thing I was thinking was like, oh, you could probably work one ahead, but I guess you probably build so dependent on what the customer wants for wood. And even though the bodies are the same, they're probably all very custom, very special, right?
Especially the specials. I mean, I let the customer kind of decide. Some of them want a painted top, so then I'm not going to use bird's eye.
Right. Has anybody ever asked for something that you're just not into? Like, hey, can you relic this or something?
I'm not a big relic guy. I think if you just put it in a stand in your living room, I've worn out a few guitars like that.
I don't know if I've seen one of your painted ones.
I've done a few all black ones.
I'm kind of colorblind. I think this is more a blue color with like a lightning bolt in it.
Yeah, that's a Roadmaster. And that's actually for a guy that's up in Portland, a friend of mine.
That is very much my jam.
I believe that has mahogany sides and mahogany back.
Even your knobs, they're like those old school
Cupcake?
Yeah, Bakelite kind of.
Yeah, I made a mold of those, and I just cast those out of a resin.
Tell me again, I'm sorry, the Roadmaster is a bolt-on?
Yes.
Ah, cool. What are the future plans?
I just want to keep building guitars, I think it would be nice just to build, what I want to build and then sell it.
What do you want to build?
I have a few ideas, but, even just the specials, just try and build with the materials I have in stock, because sometimes I have to source different things if they want a certain wood. And so it ends up not being very efficient.
Yeah, that feels like a really difficult position you're in, because enough people probably want your guitars that you could be booked far enough ahead that making what you want cuts into that. Like, I don't know.
I love doing it.
You need a clone, get another TK. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like working in the shop by myself.
There is just no downside to how this thing looks, feels, and most importantly, sounds.
No, thanks. I appreciate it.
It's smooth, Ed?
You know what?
What?
I don't know, because I have not got to play it.
Yeah, that's a bummer for you, huh?
Thanks a lot, COVID. Thanks.
Oh, that's nice.
Is there a lot of people walking around Seattle right now? Or?
We are an unusual exception. We live in a neighborhood called West Seattle. It's not an island, but it might as well be. It's a peninsula that juts out of Seattle. And there's one main bridge that gets you to and from the core of Seattle. Unfortunately, they realized the bridge was threatening life with how dilapidated it was, so they closed it.
Oh, wow.
So there's really no way in and out of West Seattle anymore other than the real long way around. So the foot traffic has probably decreased quite a bit from that, and then add COVID onto that.
Yeah, right.
June, July, something like that, the couple months I was down in Palm Springs, I couldn't tell if maybe it was the demographic. Everyone took masks very seriously.
Yeah.
Seattle's pretty similar. I have not seen someone's mouth in, I don't know, like all I've seen are masks.
Out here is not so much. There's a lot of people still, I don't know if they don't believe it or it's just crazy.
I am not a fan of that.
Yeah.
It's all going to be fine. Everything's going to be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, TK.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for being on this show.
Thank you.
People could go to tksmith.net.
.net.
The cool one.
Yeah.
Click that custom guitar tab.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
So many cool photos in there. Every guitar is just killer.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and tell us all about these things. They are amazing and unique for sure.
Where can people find us, John?
Oh, people can find us at thehighgain.com.
Oh, yeah?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They could go to patreon.com/thehighgain if they wanted to.
You could sign up to be one of our patrons and...
Sure. There's our high-pressure sales pitch. How do we do, TK?
Sounded good to me.